Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's episode of the EV Show by Ludicrous Feed. Welcome, Wednesday, 13th of November 2024. Getting ahead of myself there. 8 p.m. AEDT. That's where we are currently in Sydney, broadcasting from. So nice of you to join us. Hope you all had a very good week so far, and a great weekend if you were able to attend the Sydney International EV Auto Show, of course, in Sydney over the weekend. So, yeah. Just want to thank everyone who came up to me to say hello and shake my hand. Really nice to see you all, and I hope you had a good time. And looking at all the cars as well. Great to see so many Chinese EVs and all the other traditional OEMs as well lining the expo floor. All right, let's just put the music down just for a touch there. There we go. Okay. So, before we kick off, I just want to thank our sponsors for this evening. Of course, that is... what we got there? Here we go. So thank you to Carloop, of course, data to empower Australia's EV revolution, and our new sponsors, Hankook Driving Emotion. So thank you very much to our sponsors. Couldn't do it without you guys. All right, well, let's say hello to some of our regular guests, as always, on the show. We've got Scott. Hello there. Scott's working in Melbourne tonight, so he's going to watch on replay. Hello, Murray S. He says the EV show hopefully will bump EV sales. I hope so too. Hey, Strolling Sydney, thanks for shaking my hand at the show. And hello, Justin KD. Blackout here. Oh, house running on V2L. Fantastic. There we go. Got some news about V2G, of course, later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. Hello, Wayne. Nice to see you watching on my tablet. TV stopped working a couple of days ago. That's not good. Hopefully you get a new one soon. Let's see who else we got. Hey, Jason. Nice to see you. Hello, Oz Screamer. And hello, Tassie EV. Hello, Aaron Crofts. Hello, Anthony Phillips. Hello, Grandpa BBQ Gamer. And hello, Peter Cook. Nice to see you as well. Hello, Ricky Rick. Hello, Lewis. Nice to see you live as well. Hello, Paul Taylor. Hello, Mark B. Hello, Stan from Kangaroo Island. And yeah, hello. So much happening tonight. Definitely lots of news to get onto. And hello, Gaffer. Nice to see you at the show as well. Really appreciate it. Well, we've got some news tonight. Oh, hello, Charles. Sorry, got rid of your comment there. Hello, evening, everyone from Abami, Hobart. Now, unfortunately, Riz cannot be with us tonight. I was going to say he's on a secret mission, but he actually, a post was made on LinkedIn about where he is, so I will get onto that very shortly. So stay tuned. Riz won't be with us tonight, but instead, we are joined by a very special guest. Some of you might know who this is. Introducing Roland Lam from the Zapped AU YouTube channel. Hello, Roland. How are you going?
Hey Tom, how you going? I'm no Riz, but actually Riz just commented, so Riz has joined us too virtually.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Riz. Hey, everyone from an amazing place. I was going to ask him to tell us where he is, but I might actually share that right now, or actually very shortly. But Roland, how are you? You were on a panel with me in at the Sydney EV Auto Show. I think it was called "What's It Like to Own a Tesla?" How'd you find that?
Look, it was my first one, first panel, first time, I guess, joining the show. I thought it was good. It was a full turnout actually. So I managed to get some photos. I'll have to send you across the video in the process of uploading that. It was good in the sense that the questions there, I think, were tailored to, I think, all types of audience. Like you could tell that some of the people asking the questions, they definitely were really interested. It wasn't so much like a dead crowd. You know, when you get to questions, sometimes depending on the topics, it's just silence.
Exactly. No, it was a very engaged audience, I must say. And with these panels, like I was moderating it. You're never quite sure where to pitch to the audience, but you get the sense that as the weekend went on, our audience was actually quite knowledgeable about it or very enthusiastic about it. They really wanted to learn more from us, supposed experts on stage, or at least experienced EV owners. And Roland, I learned a little bit about you. I learned that you're a reformed redhead, a revhead, and I learned that you have taken your performance Tesla Model Y on the track.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
I'll have to tell you more about it one day, but I guess the long story short is it feels very odd because there's no sense of sound, right? So you've got the little whine from the electric motors, but in a traditional car, like if it was in a manual car or even an automatic with like gear shifts, you know what gear you're going to fly through the corner in an EV, you kind of it confuses your sense. It actually is harder to drive.
Yeah. Is there much feedback at all when you're going around the corners and things like that?
Also, I'm a pretty big guy myself. I felt like the feedback really is you trying to brace yourself to not push towards the side of the car if you're really going around that quick. But in terms of like steering feedback,
Yeah.
I think realistically, there is it's good. It still doesn't mimic obviously a traditional ICE car, but you do get the good steering feedback. And maybe it was just the Model Y, but at Sydney Motorsport Park, I topped 209 k's on the straight, and you come to pretty much a hard brake, and it kind of bends to the left. And on my first time trying that, I wasn't too sure how much I should put the pedal down, so I kind of let go a little bit, and you could feel the whole car kind of sway side to side, and I was like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen next. But it was fun. We should definitely do one. We should definitely do a track.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd make a great video. Next time you do that, give me a call. We'll go down there and show the audience what it's all about. I've done that track a couple of times. Once with the Ioniq 5N. That was a pretty cool car to go tracking in. So if I can get that car again, we'll definitely do a comparison maybe between the Ioniq 5N and maybe the Tesla Model 3 Performance or something. Yeah, get both at the same time. Yeah.
All right, you line up the cars. We'll be there.
Let's do it. Yeah. All right. We'll hear more about Roland's adventures in his Model Y very shortly, but let's get on to where Riz might be tonight. So let's have a look. So this was shared publicly on LinkedIn by the Geely Auto Australia account. So let me put this up for you guys. So here we go. So Geely Auto Australia on LinkedIn. Day one, deep dive into the heart of the Geely EX5, which is the electric SUV about to land in Australia. Kicking off our tour with 30 plus global media friends as we unveil the EX5's revolutionary 11-in-1 electric drive. So Riz is in this photo. Let me just show you. Here he is there. He's just there front and center, as you would expect, with Hollywood Riz. Global Geely, go electrified. Having been on some of these tours, Roland, I know that the Chinese love their group photos, and this is no exception. So good to see Riz there enjoying himself.
It's quite a crowd.
Yeah, it's huge. 30 plus global media friends. So not just from Australia, but looks like it's from around the world as well, which is great. Now, what's interesting about the Geely E5, from what I've read, is that this is based on I think their own kind of in-house, maybe, Aegis, the short blade battery. This is supposed to have decreased degradation and like 1 million kilometers, I think, without much wear. So, I mean, this could be quite interesting. This could certainly separate it from the other sort of mid-size SUVs that are coming to Australia. What do you reckon?
I think if they start proving that a lot of cars can go the 1 million kilometers or 1 million miles, whichever metric system they use, I think you'll start to see potentially a lot of these. And also with the size of them, the way they're designed, a lot of people in Ubers, as an example, they might start to have an uptake in buying an EV, because you know a lot of Ubers these days, straight airport, then out to wherever it is they need to take people, and they always throw luggage straight in, and then they start doing their laps.
Yep. Yeah, this car is supposed to come with, well, from what I've read earlier in like an article from EV Central, for example, it's got a 49 kilowatt hour battery and a 60 kilowatt hour battery as well. So a couple of variants. I'm not sure whether these will come to Australia, but we're all speculating at this stage. And the post mentions the 11-in-1 electric drive system. I'm sure Riz will tell us more about that once it lands in Australia, or well, at least when he gets back. And it's boasting a pretty low consumption of 11.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. This is based on CLTC, of course, so take that with a grain of salt. But, new generation of LFP battery, 3,500 charge cycles. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see how that translates into reality. When it does
that's
land.
impressive. So fingers crossed, all these real world tests come out and they'll show you how it really is.
That's it. That's what we're about. Let's take some comments from the audience. Yeah, Charles asks, is Elliot there? Referring to Elliot Richards. I think Riz can hopefully confirm that. Oh, here we go. Riz says, hello from a street in Ningbo after being at the Ningbo International Speedway today. Oh, good memories from that track. You would love that track, Roland. So it's purpose-built for Geely testing. Yeah.
One day. It's on the cards.
Definitely, you got to get yourself over there. Lots of Lynk & Co. Track cars, and obviously Lotus there as well, and lots of Zeekrs there too. So Yeah, it's a great circuit. And I asked them, have there been any like proper races on there? And no, they said it's purpose built just for, you know, tracking and testing Geely cars. There's like a full-on grandstand with no one sitting in it, and proper corners and things, and all the racing lines. It's pretty phenomenal, and I'm glad Riz is having a good time. Let's take some more comments. Wonder what the infotainment will be like and accuracy of the GOM as well as route planning. Yeah, EV trip planning, that is the key. That is what probably stands Tesla and other brands like Polestar's got it as well. Ford Mustang's got it, Marquee, and BYD is supposed to get it pretty soon. So otherwise, you know, it's pretty difficult if you're jumping into an EV for the first time. Having EV trip planning really does help with range anxiety because you can plan where you're going to charge next.
Stress-free as well. I think, especially when you're driving, the last thing you want to do going at whether it's 60 k's an hour or 100 k's is worry about, I need to pull over somewhere so I can actually go start searching where I can charge.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have that native EV trip planner, you can always get around it by using something like a better route planner with a OBD2 dongle. Bit more complicated to start with, but it's pretty easy to use if you've got the right tools there. Interesting from Enzo. Do you know that BP is selling all its filling stations in the Netherlands? At the show I asked, are they going to sell their stations in Australia because I only see them closing. Fascinating point there. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. I was in a fireside chat panel with someone from BP Pulse. We didn't get to that point, but they were pretty keen to start installing more charging stations across Australia.
We should give them the feedback that they need to lighten the actual charging handle unit.
Yeah.
The first time I heard one, I was like, compared to the Tesla supercharger ones, I was like, what are they putting in there? Bricks?
So true. Hey, I mean, yeah, you're right. The Tesla V3s are pretty light. The V4s, I must say, are a little bit heavier. I don't know what's different about them, but the V3s are super light, V2's super light. But you're right, Roland, like, you know, BP Pulse, let's start with Tritium, even Chempower is pretty heavy as well. ABB, yeah, they're all just a little bit heavier than the Tesla ones for some reason. It's interesting stuff, but yeah, it's a little bit unwieldy. Yeah, that's certainly what stands the superchargers out from the rest for sure. Yeah, Richard says it's unfortunate that Tesla will only trip plan with their own chargers, otherwise it would be perfect. That's very true. Conversely though, EV trip planning, don't think ABRP uses Tesla very much. I've tried it a few times, and even like Polestar with Android Automotive and the ones in the Ford Mustang Marquee, they don't utilize the Tesla supercharger network as much as it should. Be nice if everyone played together well. Wayne says, I watched a guy in England, I think it was, and he was going through the update on his Atto 3 today. Right, for the EV trip planning, yeah. I would love to try that out once my seal gets an update. Justin asks, did you get invited, Tom, to Geely? I sure did, but as much as I wanted to join Riz in Ningbo, I just had a bit too much going on, including hosting the EV show in Sydney as well, and just life admin and work, unfortunately. So maybe next time. But I would have loved to have gone back to Ningbo, I must say. Good memories there.
On that note, Tom, you did do a fantastic job hosting.
That's very kind of you, Roland. Thank you. No, I had a great time actually. They really, really got a lot out of me. I was on stage a lot, so apologies if you got sick of seeing my face. But it was great actually being up there and introducing all the fantastic speakers, including yourself, Roland. And it was a great honor to actually introduce Chris Bowen as well on Saturday morning to open the show that way too. So great stuff. And Roland, thank you for your content too. I did have a look at your when you followed the media around on Friday morning for the VIP tour around all the OEMs. Did you enjoy that, by the way?
I thought it was great, and being able to have that opportunity just before it opened up to the wider audience to actually film some content. Yeah, I loved it, and I think from all the couple of videos I've put up, the one with the media probably has had the most views so far. So a lot of people clearly interested in that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most people don't get to look at what happens on those mornings. And us, I guess media, we get quite a nice introduction, very intimate, session with the OEM, PR people and the general managers and so on. And they really go through the car and what the brand's about. So if you want to know what happens at these media things, check out Roland's video at Zapped.au. It's a link to his channel is in the video description below. And by the way, we really need to help Roland get to 1,000 subscribers tonight. What are you on now, Roland? 990 something, right?
It is 995. I'm 5 short.
5 short. Come on, we've got 5 generous viewers. Surely you can help us out here. Because you
And
know
the
what happens
funny,
at the Sorry, go on.
sorry, no, you go, yeah.
I was going to say, you know what happens at the Magic 1000, everyone? Anyone who's ever tried doing YouTube, you get to monetize the platform. And I think it's 4,000 hours, something like that. So everyone help Roland fulfill his dream to become a content creator full time, like myself.
Yep.
Who I'm also trying to do that.
It.
So get onto Zapday, you help him out as payment for tonight's, guest appearance on Ludicrous Feed Live. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Thanks all. So yeah, 995. The funny thing I was going to say was, so I started doing this probably about 20 months ago. I think it was roughly Feb when I was going to pick up my Model Y Performance, and oddly enough, and coincidentally, we did our first video together. So you were the first one to sit in that was non-family to sit and test drive the Model Y Performance in Sydney.
And Roland was kind enough to let me drive that thing as well, and I really had a good time. I can't believe you trusted me. That's very, very generous of you. But no, it was great car, and we just drove it around Macquarie Park. Didn't go too fast, but yeah, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Anytime.
Thank you, Sensei, for gifting 5 memberships tonight. Much appreciated. This is another way to say thank you. So appreciate that. And of all the members that turned up to the EV show on Saturday and Friday, thank you once again for saying hello and shaking my hand and appreciating what we do here on the channel. So hope you had a good time as well. Hello, Paul. Nice to see you on the show. Thanks for joining us live. Hey, Padaval, and he says, Riz Tom, Reuters reported that Tesla is planning to make a 6-seater Model Y, not to be confused with a 7-seater Model Y in China late next year. Interesting. There you go. Now, we will get to another 6-seater that's been, the pricing that's been released very shortly, but that could be interesting, Roland. Families who may need that extra seat.
6-seater Model Y. So I would presume that they'd do it similar to how they did the Model X. So they'd remove the middle seat so you could easily just get through.
Yeah, but our cars, we don't have that 7-seat option, right? We don't have the rear-facing seats. So
we don't.
I wonder whether that would pass ADRs here with our sort of mid-size Model Y spec. Interesting, hey?
I don't know. It's got a bit low roof though. I'm not tall, but when I imagine and I look at the videos plenty on YouTube with the 7-seaters overseas, it seems quite cramped. Like people have put kids seats or child seats, and it actually goes above the actual seat itself. So when the boot shuts, that's probably where it covers the actual top of the child seat. So that's how low it is.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't want to sit backwards. Like I get very car sick sitting backwards. Not so bad on a bus, but having sat backwards in like a London cab, for example, and once or twice in a stretch limo at when I was in high school, schoolies or whatever, the year 12, that kind of thing. That was I don't like going backwards too often. Don't mind on a train or a bus, but just can't go backwards on a car.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's keep going with any other comments. So Justin says Cybertruck next stop New Zealand. All right. Well, speaking of which, let's just put on some Cybertruck pickies. So there we go. We've got Cybertruck at SEMA. It's a pretty badass looking Cybertruck there. This was shared by Riz before he left for China. Bit of a camping setup with a screen. It's pretty cool. A roof there and a canopy. Nice. You got a Cybertruck order, Roland?
No. So because I love cars, I have to put cars in the garage, and the Cybertruck is longer than my garage, so no chance.
Fair enough. Me too. I'm pretty sure.
And bad weather, it hails here, so yeah.
But it's stainless steel. Surely it can withstand that.
That's true. But garage first. Maybe I'll need a garage extension first.
Home first, then cars. That's it. All right, let's take some comments. Charles says, I think ABRP lets you prioritize various networks, so you can customize it to prefer Tesla if you want. Yeah, that's true. Or with Atto 3. We'll talk about Atto 3 and Tesla Superchargers very shortly. Life as it is says, keep up the great work, Tom and Roland. We can tell it's lots of time and dedication to providing us with all the latest news and content. Sure is, but we do enjoy it, so thank you anyway for your appreciation. Riz says, great to have Roland on. Yeah, absolutely. The party down here, Riz. Missing out. But thanks for joining us tonight anyway.
Yeah,
that's great. Richard says, how can we hit the like button when you are walking the streets of Ningbo? Yeah, yeah. Ningbo's a cool place. Tassie Eve says, I'm subscribed to Roland's channel previously. Get those subscriptions coming. Yeah, let's get that live count going.
Thank you, Tazzy.
1,000 subscribers. So that's what we want. Hello, Aaron. Nice for joining. Thanks for joining. Oh, Jason says 1,000 now. Is that right?
Oh, 1011. You guys are too kind.
Well done. I knew tonight was going to be the night. How good is that? How good is that? Oh, and Stan's channel recently hit 1,000 as well. Congratulations, Stan. Good stuff. Double party.
Congratulations.
Look at this. Everyone's congratulating you. 1,000. What a milestone here on Ludicrous Feed Live. We do love celebrating this kind of stuff. Thank you. And thank you, Sensei, for more memberships as well. Now, Charles says, now all unsubscribe. No, don't do that. And resubscribe so we can hit 1K a second time. No, I don't think you'd appreciate that. Just in case. Thanks, guys. You guys are the best audience, honestly. What a great community. Absolutely. Well done. Okay, let's keep that live count going later on. But let's go back to some more news and just back on Cybertruck just for a second. The Cybertruck is still going around Australia at this stage. It is now in Brisbane this week, in Fortitude Valley in their showroom. There we go. We've got some nice pics there of that big beast in that Tesla showroom there. This is one of the earlier pre-release versions as well. So good to see that doing the lap of Australia, so to speak. All right, so let's get onto some news which was announced at the Sydney EV International Auto Show. I'll get that right one day. But Chris Bowen, Minister for Climate Change and the Environment, announced that so certification and compliance for V2X or V2H, V2G, that's vehicle to grid, vehicle to home, will roll out basically now, and hopefully the first car will have V2X, V2G, V2H capability by the end of the year. That's what he said, but we'll see what happens anyway. But essentially what will happen is that OEMs in Australia will apply for the certification, get it certified, and then the next step, Roland, I guess, is to get a V2G or V2H compliant bidirectional charger into Australia, and hopefully we can use our car batteries or high voltage batteries as a backup battery for the home.
I do wonder how that's going to impact sales for people buying the different size batteries in the cars. Like, for someone buying, say, a Model Y that has your 60 odd kilowatt hour battery versus you want the long range with a bigger battery. Not only so you could go on road trips and whatnot, but then for instances like these.
Yeah, so correct. So you're saying that how's it going to work if it's two different variants?
No, so I'm just more interested in how is that going to impact sales overall for vehicles? Are people going to start, for example, shifting from buying your base models to long range purely because you've got much more battery capacity because they all want to gamify it with the likes of Amber in the VPP space?
Okay, I know what you're saying. Okay, so will people, instead of buying the basic standard range, go, you know what, might get that extra 20 kilowatt hours to power the home most days? Yeah, that's right.
Because the price is going to be less than buying, say, another Powerwall.
Yeah, 100%. Like a Powerwall is what, 15 grand installed, maybe like less with a rebate in New South Wales. Even if you buy 4 of those or even 5 of those, it's still not as good value as buying a car with a similar battery that you can drive away. What I'm more curious about, Roland, is this V2X announcement going to impact sales of Tesla Powerwall 2 and other batteries? Because now people will go, well, why should I buy a home battery when I can buy a car with batteries in it? That's what I'm curious about.
I think it definitely will. It'll come down to how much can the car discharge, how much constant power can it use versus what people actually need.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I just wonder, like my BYD Seal, for example, it's got a V2L discharge of 3.3. I'm hoping it'll be able to discharge more if it's direct to the home. I don't know at this stage. But 3.3 may not be enough if I'm running, say, ducted air conditioning and other things in the house. That may not be enough of a draw. But, say, for example, I think the Kia EV6 can draw 6 kilowatts, someone told me. And who knows how much Tesla will draw, but having at least 5, I think, would be good, because the Tesla Powerwall 2 is currently 5, and then the Powerwall 3 is 10 even. So it'd be good for those sort of hungry appliances, load-hungry appliances.
I'm no electrician, but I do wonder, can you stack it? As in, if you've got 2 EVs and 2 chargers, could you stack them? So, if it's two cars with 5 kilowatts each, it's 10.
You need 2 bi-directional chargers, hey? That could be quite
Yeah,
pricey.
yeah, but has there been any indication of cost? That's what I don't know.
We don't know. I've seen like prices of like 10 grand floated on the internet and in my comment section of that video I made. I mean, that's kind of speculation still. Moving right along to your ex here, Roland. This was, I think, Manfred, the CEO of Ambibox, saying, yes, we're hoping to bring this to Australia. So they could be possibly the first CCS2 capable bidirectional charger coming to Australia for testing.
Yeah, there is a response somewhere in that chain from a user called Muse5000.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's the comment there that I'm referring to. Apparently, this person spoke to Ambox in Germany and won't be available till next year, and it could be just parts. But either way, it's been approved V2G, so it's definitely coming, guys.
Yeah, surely the floodgates will open, right? And you know, we know that Wallbox Quasar 2, I think. No, sorry, is it Quasar? Pulsar 2, something like that. One of the star names. That can do bidirectional charging. I think that's quite an expensive unit. That's why people are referring to this 10 grand kind of pricing. But surely you would think that is the next evolution of EVs, right? You know, would you now buy an EV without V2X capability? I would have thought that would be a big selling point and possibly even tip some people over the edge who are on the fence about EVs. Suddenly you've got this big backup at home as well as being able to drive this thing. Surely.
Yeah.
Let's take some comments from the audience about this. We've got... okay, so Scotty says, it'll be quicker and cheaper if it's done via DC than each car doesn't have to certify their car inverters. Yep, be great, right? DC to DC. And Shez's, I think, saying what a lot of people are thinking. I want to wait for a V2X capable EV before buying. So true. I mean, for my next EV, surely I would think it has to be V2X capable, just for resale value as well. And great point, Tassie. EV V2H would be fantastic as you can run your home from your car during disasters or at peak times. What a great backup. Yeah, having an 80 kilowatt hour battery running a pretty frugal household during emergencies, you could last for weeks if you're only using like 5 to 10 kilowatt hours, a day.
Yeah, you wouldn't be running any pool pumps or anything if you're in a blackout, so
No,
it lasts you a while.
Shut the crypto off. You don't need that during an emergency. No, correct. Yep. Let's take some more comments. We've got had to Google V2X. Why isn't it V2E? I suppose X sounds cooler, right? UX, V2E. I suppose V2 everything, but V2X sounds like more generic, like more encompassing, more edgy. Other question, does your car warranty change to kilowatt hours rather than kilometers? That's a great point because the Powerwall 2 is warranted to, I think, cycles as well as capacity. So yeah, I mean, it's no secret that if you're cycling your car more often as a backup battery, admittedly, not using it for your home for backup is not as energy intense as driving on the road, obviously, but it'll still affect the amount of cycles that you've had to do on your car if you do back up your home more frequently. But
that's definitely something to keep an eye on in terms of the T's and C's for your warranty. Watch that evolve over the next year.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and also like, if you only use it for, say, like, if you use it smartly, say during the peak periods, like say 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock when everyone's home, and then switch it over to grid when it's a bit cheaper, then that could be a nice compromise between using too many cycles for your car, but also getting the benefits of V2G and a good electricity plan. So there are ways around this. And Tassie Evie makes a good point. The car may not always be in your garage carport. Yes, this thing may drive away occasionally, so having a small battery might be useful. Very true. You might be off at work or whatever, and your family's still home. They can't utilize your car, obviously. So that's a good point. I think you'll only be using a small percentage of the car battery each night as they are so much bigger than you need. Very true, Stan. It will impact on the existing home battery sales, as Roland said too. Very true. Richard says, as an Amber user, I would love to be able to deliver 22 kilowatts to the grid during massive spikes. I could be making $330 an hour. Yeah, I don't know. I think surely software would sort of limit to how much you can export, right? If they were smart about it. Otherwise,
I'm sure they'll have a clause somewhere.
Yeah, it'd be killing it otherwise. Thanks for your comments, guys. That's great. A lot of comments also on my video about this too, so have a look at that for more information too. Cool. Yeah, Charles says, I'm interested to see what caravan manufacturers will do. Imagine if you have a caravan battery that can be used as a home battery all the time, even when your car is in and out. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, just putting a few extra kilowatt hours onto a caravan. That might increase the towing weight a bit, but the compromise is that you get a stationary battery for most of the time. Okay, and yes, you're right. Some companies have put, in fact, this Ambibox, have posted videos on the internet demonstrating that Teslas can do V2L. I think it was Ambibox,
Yeah.
wasn't it, Roland?
That was the one. Box. It was about 3 months ago or something.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for your comments, guys. And let's move on now to, of course, back to Tesla. This is a leaked video of the Juniper, potentially. Driving around somewhere. And we know for a fact that once these leaked videos are shown on the internet, we're probably about 6 to 9 months away in Australia getting orders for the new refresh Model Y. What do you think, Roland? I mean, let's just speculate for a sec. If the Juniper or refresh Model Y gets a facelift and several other updates very similar to the Model 3 Highland, no stalks, no sensors, just better interior, ventilated seats, RGB interior lighting, that kind of stuff. Would you be tempted to upgrade your performance Model Y currently?
Ooh. It comes down to money. You know how poor the resale values are at the moment. But if we park that aside, the seats are much better in the Highland compared to the previous Model 3. I'm already sold. I genuinely, and I've said this quite a few times on my channel, one of the things I don't like most about my Model Y is the seats. I personally just don't feel like they're quite that comfortable, and it retains heat too much. So when we did our road trip, I felt really hot the entire time. So I feel like they've nailed that in the Model 3. They've sorted that issue. So I'd definitely be tempted for sure.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, you're right. The current gen Model Y and the X generation Model 3, the seats, I mean, to be fair, they leave a little bit to be desired. I know they're meant to be vegan leather and all that, but yeah, it's just not as comfortable as it could be. But yeah, you're right. The new refresh Model 3 seats are much better. And because they're ventilated, that helps a lot as well in our hot weather in summer. What do you think about the lack of stalks? Is that going to be an issue for you?
Yes and no. I think it's one of those, you'd have to drive it long term. I mean, I going for a test drive, I think it was fine. Roundabouts is probably something you just need to get used to. But overall, I don't think it's something that I would say no to just purely because it doesn't have stalks, put it that way. Okay. I think overall, the car as a package is still quite compelling.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like the Model Y is number one, well, except for last month, for a reason, when MG4 took over for a little while due to the discounting. But it's a fantastic package. Supercharger network, of course, app, ecosystem. Yep, we've covered all this before. But yeah, I'm curious to see how much, whether sales will, stay the way they are with Tesla being on top with the new upgrades for Model Y. Look, of course, edge cases where the wheel is upside down in a roundabout, you want to indicate out, might be a bit tough, but most of the time, if the wheel is at the same position, it's not too difficult without stalks. I am a little bit concerned about lack of sensors, though. Sometimes it'd be nice to have sensors when the camera quality is degraded from bad weather or whatever. It's nice to have that backup. So that's something else to think about for those of you wondering about the new Model Y. All right.
Would you get one, Tom? Would you get one?
Oh, you know what? I'd have to consult with Joy because this would have to be a family car, right? The Model Y is the family car. Like, it's the workhorse. It gets hammered every weekend. We go driving with it. I personally, I'm more of a sedan man, as you know. Left my sportier, lower cars. If there was a wagon that Tesla made, I'd be all over it.
Oh, yes, wagon.
What
do we need to do? Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We
need to get a vote somewhere.
Obviously, you saw the 001 FR at the auto show, right? How good is that?
Yeah. It's so nice. So nice.
Yeah. That's like my ideal body shape. That low wagon estate, shooting brake, whatever you want to call it. And obviously the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo GT as well in the corner with the finance guys. That was pretty sweet too. I just don't have the cash for that at the moment.
Just make sure you buy it used.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Don't buy it new. Yeah, no, good question, Roland. I'll have to test drive it and give you my thoughts. Now, speaking of people movers, let's get on to this one. This is the Zeekr 009 luxury people mover. Now, speaking of Ningbo, where Riz is right now, this was actually my favorite on track, by the way. This big beast. Just the way the suspension is dampened as you take those corners, it's just phenomenal. I don't know how it does it, but it just felt so smooth taking the racing line around the S's and things. And this is one car that the passengers I had in the car with me at the time, I didn't feel like they were being thrown around the track. So yeah, they've done something right in this car to make it a very luxurious, big people mover.
And it's a heavy car too. So if you're saying that like it went around the track very well, they've definitely done something right with the software because it's got air suspension. I was reading.
Yep. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Honestly, it was like driving nothing at all. I felt like I was driving the 001 almost. It was just a great car, and it's so luxurious on the inside. Roll, you've seen it, right? You've been to the Zeekr.
I've seen it,
roof.
done
Yeah.
videos. Yeah, you're totally right. It feels first class cabin in a car.
Yeah, this is the kind of car I want to be picked up at the new Sydney airport when it opens. Right, this is where this could be. Where the application could be, like just airport transfers, high-end customers, whatever, for that luxurious experience. And there it is at the ICC event, I think, earlier this year. Zeekr had on the rooftop of the ICC. And lots of inclusions, all-wheel drive, 7 seats. And I think it's got does it have the new battery? I can't remember now.
It's a 116 kilowatt hour NMC battery that it's got in there. I don't know if that was a new one or not, but
yeah, I can't remember either. And it can charge at, let's see, 205 kilowatts. So that's not bad. We'll get you there within 20 minutes for that kind of rate. And 19.5, but that's an EDC, of course, efficiency. So probably more like 20, 21 for efficiency, which is not bad for such a big ass car. Double wishbone suspension, multi-link rear as well. Pretty amazing. I guess we should talk about where this sits in the segment, right? So I was reading up before the show. So the people mover segment only makes up 2.4% of the Australian car market in general, of which the Kia Carnival is the king. 72% of that 2.4%. So you've got 30% left for all these other brands like Honda Odyssey, Mercedes EQV, Lexus LM, I think it's called, and then obviously this is a new entrant, and we've currently got the LDV MIFA 9 as well, which is like the first of its kind in the electric segment. So this is what the Zeekr 009 is up against. Now, you did a video on this, Ron, the Ninja, recently. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so actually, thanks to my wife, she did the translation in the highlights when they had the international launch back in July. So they were saying in the video that their target market, when they were building this car, there was only 2 cars that they were competing against. And that was the Mercedes EQV and the Toyota Alphard or Velfire, which is a Japanese hybrid car. That was literally their two target competitors. But over here now, locally, I guess you've got your Lexus LM, we've got the EQV, and we've got a lot of the Velfires that are all imported. So I think, look, I made a video last night on it. I think they've got the price right. I genuinely thought when this car was going to launch, I was expecting 160,000 plus on-road costs. And the rationale was because the Velfires and the Alphards, which are imports, they're all around $150,000 and they're hybrids. Then your EQV is about 170, 180, and your Lexus LM is around 170, 180. So I was thinking it'd be around 160. So the fact that they've got it even under 140, I think for what they're trying to achieve, I think they'll sell well against the competitors.
Yep. No, I agree with you because you can't compare this against like the Kia Carnival and Honda Odyssey. It's a different segment.
No.
Like they're not really luxury people movers. They're more like family, sort of mid-range or mid-spec SUV, large people movers. Whereas this is targeting very much the luxury segment. And if anyone has never seen this, it's a good chance to have a look if you can. It is quite plush inside. And it's a step above the MIFA 9, which is the LDV kind of their luxury version. And that goes for about 120, I think, MSRP. And as Roland said, I think I also agree with him. I think it's priced pretty well. It's priced between the Mi for 9 and then the obviously the EQVs and the Lexus, which is a bit more high end again. And you can't actually get the Toyota Alphard hybrid in Australia. It's an import. It's not actually available here, is it? As far as I know.
Yeah, that's right. It's an import. So technically you can buy like a 2023, 2024. So people would say, yes, it's a new car, but it's not going to be supported by Toyota locally.
Yep.
Like Toyota won't recognize to say, oh, yes, you've got an issue with the transmission. Let's just fix it. You'll be going back to whoever imported your car to try to get it fixed.
Correct.
And then, sorry, just on that, all your menus and everything, I don't know if they've got English translations, but I mean, you can't compare it to what you're going to get for a locally sold car that's locally supported with all of the luxury goodies with it.
Yep. No, so true. Yeah, and this is electric, of course, all electric. And yeah, it's a pretty plush ride. Again, I don't know, who will they target? I mean, I think their main audience or their main customers has to be like fleet buyers, you would think. Got airport chauffeurs, just people that need to transport people regularly rather than sort of the family kind of market. Because that's pretty much covered, like I said, by the Kia Carnival, 70% of sales. It's going to be a kind of a hard sell to pay almost double to get into this kind of vehicle, despite how nice it is.
I don't think you'll jump from a Kia Carnival directly to this unless you've got, I guess, really differing reasons to do that. I mean, I had a Kia Carnival myself, and it's a great car, but it just doesn't drive as well. But that's because that's a me problem because I'm a car enthusiast. I think besides seeing those chauffeur companies, I think where you'll see these are probably you'll see these at private schools.
Yes,
you'll definitely see these at private schools because at the moment you see the high end Mercedes that they've got. You'll see Lexus. You'll see all of those top end cars, and this is probably just another one where they could use the money, sit in comfort and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the Mercedes is kind of their budget car on some areas of the North Shore.
True.
I've been seeing the Maserati SUV. Saw a Bentayga the other day. Cullinan's passing me. So yeah, this is this is crazy stuff. But
there is one place that I thought actually that they might actually market to as well. Sorry, before we move on.
Yeah.
And it was only because we were at the Sydney EV show that when I walked past the W Hotel, they've got a fleet of Genesis vehicles there. That's for the hotel. So I actually think that some high-end hotels, for example, maybe the Park Hyatt that's just below Sydney Harbour and the Opera House, they might take a fleet of these or some of the other ones, because also in Hong Kong, there's the hotel chain called the Peninsula, which is very high class, and they've got Rolls-Royce vehicles. So, it's just making me think maybe that's where they'll get some of the sales too.
Yep. Speaking of Rolls-Royce, actually, there was supposed to be a Rolls-Royce at the EV show on the weekend. It just got scratched last minute, I was told, because of some complication that Rolls-Royce Australia didn't want to have that car there. But whatever it was very close to being shown on the EV show floor. That would have been spectacular. I think that would have drawn a lot more people. So I'm hoping they'll add that to the Melbourne show, which is coming up in June next year for the next iteration of this EV show. That would have been good. Let's take some comments from the audience about everything we've talked about so far. So any pricing on Model Y, don't know yet. I imagine it'll be pretty similar, or maybe a small hike up compared to the current generation Model Ys. I'd trade the RGB lights for an indicator stalk and sensors. I probably would too, actually, to be honest with you.
Yep, I would, for sure.
Yep.
Wouldn't need to think twice.
No, correct. I think it'd be probably sell more. Sate says I won't probably upgrade to Juniper as there are. Oh, sorry, I won't probably upgrade to Juniper as there are a lot more offerings from Zeekr and Xpeng. Yep, good point. The Xpeng G6 has the fast charging. That's true. 800-volt architecture, so a lot faster charging. And by the way, speaking of Xpeng, which we'll touch on very shortly, a little birdie has told me the cars are basically in the country, so they will be delivered pretty shortly, I think. So they're true to their word. By the end of 2024, customers will have their first cars. Let's keep going. Life as it is says, definitely need to take longer to make a decision on another EV. So many on the market now. So true. Deepal, Xpeng, Model Y refresh, lots going on. Even the Zeekr X is quite a reasonably big car as well at 4.4 meters. If you want something a little bit smaller than the others. Enzo says, just got a quote for Powerwall 3. It's still $14K with a rebate. Okay. So by the way, just as a reference, I got mine installed for 11K back in 2017. So, inflation-wise, it hasn't gone up too much. Just comparing back then to now. Let's keep going. Kangaroo Island stances. It's also the Volvo EM90 van as well. Okay, throw that in the mix. Justin says, a friend ordered a BYD Shark 6 on Friday. Was told the delivery would be around February. Okay, cool. Let's see. Yep, life as it is. Unbelievably big turning circle for such a long car. For that 009, yep. And what else? Yeah, a lot of interest at the 009 at the auto show. That's very true. And lots of comments about fair market for grey import luxury MPVs. That's true. I do see a lot of Alphards around actually, and Belfires too in Sydney. Yeah, thanks for your comments, guys. Richard says LDV have sold single-digit Me for 9s at 120 grand. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a very small market, as we know. 2.4% of the current Australian market. And Richard says Australians buy huge Luxo four-wheel drives, like the, I suppose, Kia EV9, if you consider that luxury. Yep. Yep, lots of Alphas, that's true. Thanks for your comments, guys. That's great. Soccer mums and soccer dads.
Very true, yeah.
Rolls Royce scratched. Unfortunate wording. Yeah, I don't think it was physically scratched, just like metaphorically scratched. Yeah, thanks, guys. Let's keep going with the show for now. But before we do that, just want to quickly give a shout out to our sponsors as always. Thank you to Carloop, of course. Riz is in the chat somewhere. Our data to empower Australia's EV revolution, and of course, Hankook, our new sponsors, Driving Emotion. We've got a show special at the moment. Buy 3, get 1 free until the end of this week. If you want to get yourself some new Hankook EV ion tires. Alrighty, we talked about Xpeng a little bit, so let's just put this one up. We had some sightings this week after the EV show. Xpeng P7, which was at the show, by the way, yesterday in Sydney, and Zeekr 009 today in Melbourne as well. Thanks to Gary. There we go, Xpeng P7. Beautiful looking car. These are the ones with the scissor doors. No, that's not it. That's not something else. But this is a sedan shape. Pretty cool. And that's
Looks
the...
good.
yeah, it does look good. I agree. And the 009 as well, charging up somewhere. Looks like a BP Pulse. There's the Xpeng again. Or Xpeng. P7. Hopefully they bring that to market as well in Australia. That'd be good. And speaking of Xpeng, offering 10-year warranty and free service as an incentive introductory offer for the new G6 electric SUV. So now that extra 3 years for the vehicle and 2 years for the battery pack is valued at $5,000. Introductory complimentary extended warranty, which is good to see. And the pricing it was $54,800 before on-road costs. Looks like a lot of that pricing is around that mid-50s mark. Deepal 53,900, Model Y 55, I think, around that mark, a bit more. So lots of cars in that space. So speaking of Xpeng again, so Roland, you posted this as well on your X account about the first cars in Australia having some issues with the app and connectivity.
Yeah, with the SIM card issues. So I presume something about them getting the SIM card activated.
Yep. I mean, these hopefully are just teething issues. I think BYD had similar issues as well initially, so hopefully they'll get that sorted pretty quick smart. I am hoping for a long-term loan of the Xpeng G6 to test that for you guys, so stay tuned on the channel. Hopefully we'll see that driving around Sydney shortly. Stay tuned. And let's move on to this news from Xpeng again. So we've got a few brands bringing out some hybrid systems. We've got BYD, obviously, with their DMI platform. Zeekr, I think, have confirmed as well. And now Xpeng's doing this extended range hybrid system. So it's kind of very similar to I think it was the BMW i3 that had this range extender, where it's an EV first, once again, with a petrol engine that's kind of a generator to deliver extra range. And they're claiming this Kunpeng hybrid system delivering up to 1,400 combined range with the extra 400 odd battery range as well. So, I don't know, Roland, I think it's not a bad idea, really, for those who need that extra security, right? I mean, you and I, we've been EV owners for a little while now. We're fairly confident we can get around town with 400 k's of range. We know where the chargers are if we do drive a bit further. But is this going to be enough to convince export markets where Xpeng's going to, that, bigger countries with not as good at charging infrastructure like Australia, for example, is this what we need, or is this kind of like, well, do we need this? Can't we just go straight to EVs?
I feel like it's in between. That's my honest thoughts. I mean, look, 1,400 kilometers, let alone 1,000. I'm going to need a bathroom break, and I've got kids. But I'm not going to drive 1,000 kilometers straight. I genuinely, like, even if it was an ice car, I don't mind filling up. So it's the same concept as, if I was driving a pure EV on a road trip, I don't mind actually just plugging in and waiting 5 or 10 minutes, because having a stretch feels good rather than sitting in the same position for however long it's going to take to drive 1,000 kilometers.
That's very true. Yeah, especially with the Xpeng like 800-volt architecture, you can actually charge pretty quickly too. So I personally don't mind having only 400Ks, 500Ks of range. But, I can see the perception is still there that, yes, I need that extra range just in case.
Totally.
So, yeah, I get it. I do get it, actually. I can see why the Shark 6 is so popular, why the Sea Lion 6 is now the highest selling BYD car. There's obviously a huge section of the Australian population that still needs that range anxiety cured for now until the charging infrastructure improves. And Xpeng I've clued on, Zeekr's clued on, BYD's clued on. So clearly this is still selling at the moment.
I think, yeah, just an interim thing in my view. And look, a lot of people go, you buy an EV, you save a lot of money in terms of ongoing costs, running costs. I wonder, I haven't seen the hybrid ones in action. Like they haven't been out for a long time in these newer cars, like the Shark and the BYD Sea Lion 6 and so forth. But it'd be interesting to see how the hybrids hold up in terms of maintenance compared to if the Sea Lion 7 just comes out, or comparing to like your Seal that's just a full EV. Do people actually save costs?
And we know that the maintenance or the servicing costs are actually different in the Sea Lion 6 compared to the Seal and Dolphin and Akhtar. They're a bit more expensive because you've got now more moving parts to service and things as well. So got to keep that in mind when you factor in your total cost of ownership. Kangaroo Island Stan says, I think hybrids just prolong the fossil industry. Yeah, they do, probably for the time being. And Charles says, I'm not sure why manufacturers brag about combined electric plus petrol range in a hybrid vehicle. It's not a challenge when you have a petrol tank. Thank you, Charles. I've been saying that all along. People ask me to go for a road trip in the Sea Lion 6. I'm not going to do that. It's not a challenge. It's got a petrol tank. Of course it's going to be okay. It's got like 1,000K range. It's like whoopee-doo, right? The challenge is making it in an EV. That's the thrill for me, right, Roland?
Yeah, totally. It definitely isn't. I mean, look, petrol cars have been out for many years. It's literally the same thing as if you remove the electric side just to go, hey, I bought an ice car. I'm going to go on a road trip and I'm going to challenge myself to do 1,000 Ks.
Yeah. Whoopee-doo. You want to be laughing as well, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, Grandpa says, I don't know if I could buy one of these new manufacturers' cars like Xpeng coming to Australia until they've been established here for a few years. That's actually a very valid point. The reason why a company like Toyota has been around for so long and has got such a good reputation is because the servicing is very good. We kind of need these Chinese brands to show us, and they can't do it overnight. It's going to take a little while to gain our confidence and trust that the service is there, the reliability is there. They'll be here for a long time to help Australian consumers. So yeah, it's not a problem we can solve. It's just, unfortunately, a bit of give and take, a bit of trust for the time being.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see once the brand has been established, you'll see all the feedback through the Facebook pages.
Oh yeah,
and on this live chat and everything. As soon as something hits,
yeah,
there'll
be no mercy, Roland, as you know, right? Straight away, Reddit, Facebook.
I mean, look at what happened when they first announced that they were going to partner with who was it? Ultratune.
Oh yeah.
Internet went wild.
They copped it. Yeah, we know how much Ultratune hates EVs, or used to hate EVs. I'm not sure about now, but they were not friendly a few years ago with their memes and so on. Yeah. Richard says, no one wants a Fisker situation with a shiny new car. That's so true, isn't it? Yeah, we don't want them to go bust. And now, hearing a lot of comments about the BYD sponsorship of the Roosters. We'll get to that very shortly. I just want to also share the Deepal S07 pricing that was announced during the media walk around with myself and Roland and every other media journalist who was there at the Sydney show on Friday. So it was announced by the guys from Deepal that the pricing will be $53,900 before on-roads for their base variant, which I guess there's only one variant, isn't there? The 79.97 kilowatt hour NMC battery pack. With that charging speed of 92 kilowatts, I got to say. So that's where Xpeng is going to be a better choice if you go road tripping a lot, because they can go up to 250 potentially with their 800 volt architecture. So, but otherwise, not a bad looking car, Roland. Deepal 07.
I was surprised when I saw it. So I saw it for the first time at the show, and yeah, the seats were quite soft. Felt very nice, and it was pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen it, make sure you go see it one day. So the screen is actually flat like in the Teslas, but as soon as you put some weight or you sit down on the seat, it actually tilts towards you.
Mm.
So you've got a much better driving view or visibility on the actual screen. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then when the driver leaves, if the passenger's still in the car, the screen will automatically tilt back towards the passenger. I think they call it the sunflower screen. It's because it's like a sunflower moving between. But you're right, Roland. It's pretty nice package. It's got great interior. It doesn't have an instrument cluster, but it's got a head-up display to counter that, unlike the Tesla Model 3Y. So you've got the visibility of the head-up display in front of you, which is pretty cool. Look, I gotta say, the Chinese cars, Deepal, Xpeng, Zeekr, the quality is pretty good. BYD, honestly, some people might be surprised if you've never seen a Chinese make. They're actually quite good quality, for what they are and for the price that they are. So again, it does come down to reliability and long-term servicing, but at the face of it, not a bad package for these kind of new entrants too. So if you were at the Sydney EV show, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of feedback from that as well about the quality. All right, cool. I think they also announced a few dealerships that they're opening or partnering with Inchcape dealerships around town. So they should be coming to a capital city near you, I would think. Okay, so let's talk a bit about this BYD sponsorship. Hearing about a lot of this on the chat. So this is the new announcement this week. So BYD have now partnered and are sponsoring the Sydney Roosters, which is a NRL team here in New South Wales. For those of you south of the border, it's one of the premier teams in the competition. One of the major Sydney teams. So this is actually quite a big deal that BYD is sponsoring. The Sydney Roosters. We know that the MG brand is plastered all over the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Again, another big team here in Sydney, and I think that's been quite successful for them because it's part of this brand recognition, which is what the Chinese cars and Chinese brands kind of suffer and struggle with because no one knows who they are. But having this kind of visibility role in BYD across someone like James Tedesco, a lot of other famous players across NRL and WNRL, this is quite a big deal, I think.
People, I think, will always they'll end up calling whatever team you're talking about, they'll relate it straight to the major sponsor. So, I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of months' time people start going, BYD Roosters. I mean, it sounds funny, but, Sydney Roosters, they'll recognize it straight away.
Yeah, 100%. I'm actually glad they didn't put the Build Your Dreams across the front. It's possibly a bit cringe, but BYD, that looks pretty cool across the front there of the chest and abdomen region. So, and that's quite. I'm not a Roosters fan, just saying this, but seeing that BYD with the rooster, that's actually pretty good. I've got to admit that, very smart. We know that Toyota and AFL and Ford and Geelong and AFL previously, Kia and the Australian Open, like sports is what Australia relates with, and sponsoring a sporting team or a sporting event, that's just very smart marketing. So hats off to you guys at EV Direct and BYD for doing this. This is a pretty good deal.
And I think they timed it very well because if you think about it, right, Australian sport, the Shark has just been launched. That's the target market they want.
Yep.
Lot of, if you kind of generalize the big ute market and so forth. And, I actually Googled this earlier on. Supposedly the contract over 5 years cost them $10 million. So they'd probably have to factor in, for $10 million. Yes, it's a lot of money, but what else could they do from marketing when this is going to be something that all of the sports players are going to be wearing? It's going to be plastered everywhere. They're probably it's well spent for that 10 mil.
I think 10 mil is actually a pretty good deal. 10 mil for 5 years, you said, right? So it's 2 mil per year.
Yeah. That's
pretty good for brand recognition, I got to say. Like NRL is one of the top two sports in winter,
And these guys have to wear the jerseys everywhere, right? So
Correct.
you can't pay for that. So
No, everywhere the Roosters go, BYD will be there with them. So smart,
exactly.
very smart. And yeah, Hal says it helps when the AP Eagers chairman and Roosters is the same person. I think that's Nick Politis, isn't it? He's the chairman of both. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here we go. So Politis. I think it's Politis. Anyway. Yeah. So that's good. Thanks for sharing that, Jim Pine. Appreciate that. And yeah, you mentioned Shark 6. There we go. Riz and I talked about advertising across our capital cities. Here's one that was shared by Strolling Sydney, one of our viewers. There it is. Shark 6 tagline: a big pond needs a big fish. That's not bad, actually. Not bad tagline. So yeah. And again, it goes down to the fact that the Ute, even though it's quote electric, plug-in electric, it can still go off-road like that. It's got the range. That's why it's selling well. That's why it's got 2,000 orders in the first 24 hours. That's why Xpeng, that's why Zeekr's cluing on. This is kind of an interim measure until the charging infrastructure catches up.
I think that car in particular is going to grow the brand in Australia by miles, because it's the bridge. It's the bridge to people who have traditionally just been buying Toyota Hiluxes and Ford Rangers. That's the middle ground, and then they'll be comfortable with the electric side. And then if electric is where BYD is going to be pushing in the future a lot harder, then that they've won the customer over.
And we saw the Ford Ranger hybrid at the show. No pricing yet, of course. But I would have loved to have seen the Shark 6 there. Honestly, I think BYD could have
I was
had a
surprised it
stand
wasn't there.
I know. Can you imagine? It would be great to have a metric seeing who had more visitors, right? The Ford Ranger hybrid or the BYD Shark 6. I honestly would think the Shark 6 would have had more people having a look at that thing.
Yeah.
It's got a bigger battery, 30 kilowatt hours, 100 k's of range, and that's genuine. And then Ford Ranger was, I think, 30 k's of range. I think much smaller battery too, but it can tow 3.5 tons apparently. So that's kind of the trade-off. Cool. All right, we're almost at the end of the show, guys. But just quickly on BYD. So we've been following the story with BYD Atto 3s and Seals getting that V3 V4 compatibility upgrade. The Seals are starting to get their upgrades, which is great. This is a update for BYD Atto 3 people. So he says Ashley from BYD has emailed Robert, our viewer. He says, thanks for your email. Thank you for bringing our attention the compatibility issues with the V3 chargers. We want to assure you that our technical team is still actively investigating the matter to identify the root cause and implement a solution for our Atto 3s. We are currently investigating, blah, blah, blah. We will provide an official announcement once testing is completed. Unfortunately, this investigation is very dependent on the cooperation of the manufacturers of this infrastructure. If a future update is brought to these charges that render our resolution inert, then we will need to restart the entire investigation process. We must respect that we rely on infrastructure that is not manufactured by us and is subject to change without warning. So they're still kind of passing the buck a little bit to Tesla, saying it's some update to the charging hardware that's caused this to be, inoperable. I don't know. I'm still not quite sure about that, Roland. I don't know. It's, works with every other third-party charger and every other...
That's what I was going to say.
Every other OEM seems to be able to charge...
issues.
Yeah, so why just the Atto 3 and the Seals? So, and the new Atto 3s and the Seals work fine, so I don't know. It's reality doesn't quite fit with what they're saying.
That's right. If you go from a logical sense, the Atto is the issue.
I know. And the early Seals, so... Yeah. Anyway, that's the perception I get. I know they're saying something else, but that's what I've always thought, just logically in my head. Anyway, that's the update, guys, for the Atto 3 owners. We'll keep an eye on it. And thanks to everyone who sends me updates like this. Just keep pestering them. That's unofficially from me, but yeah, keep on BYD to get your updates. I think it's important. We've got so many Atto 3s on the road. It's one of their biggest selling cars, so they should look after. We talked about reliability and service and customer service. This will go a long way to help build the brand in Australia if they can look after existing Atto 3 customers. And you're right, Justin. BYD could have done an announcement about the new partnership at the EV show. Imagine that if they announced the Roosters deal at the Sydney EV show. I know they hosted their own thing, but that would have been a great announcement too. Okay, let's keep going. Almost there. Just quickly, Roland, your X about another SUV. This time a 7-seater SUV, Volvo EX90, getting ADR approval. Big car, 2.8 tons.
You got that up on screen?
Oh, apologies. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Volvo EX90, 2.8 tons. So this will probably compete with like the Kia EV9, I would think.
Yep. Same market. Obviously, they'll pitch themselves being Volvo more on the
Yep.
luxurious end. And my speculation for this one is probably at least 160, 170, 160, 170,000. And the logic behind that is because at the moment, the current XC90, which this is essentially based off, it only comes in hybrid, and without any options ticked, it's about 140,000.
Okay.
So it wouldn't make sense for them to release something better for the same price. I mean, they could surprise us as consumers. I'm sure we'd all appreciate that. But seeing how other cars have done launches for newer versions, it's natural. It would be natural to expect that there'd be a price hike on top of that.
Yeah, so true. It's always like ICE, then hybrid, then EV kind of pricing. So yeah, I think your logic stands on that. Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's a yep. How long is this thing? We got specs on the dimensions. No, I'll have to double check that. But yeah, it's
I think I had it.
Oh, here we go. 5 meters. Yep. 2.2 ton towing. Not bad actually. Not bad for just a, I guess, large SUV. I did see these rolling off the same line at the Geely plant when I was there early this year. We were checking out the Zeekrs. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks like a nice car, obviously, as you expect with the Volvo. Cool, thanks Roland for that. And almost there, guys, towards the end of the show. Thanks for sticking with us. 162 viewers, that's great. 2024 GWM Ora. No commission from this, I just wanted to point this out. 26,990 drive away for an X-Demo car. That's pretty good for an EV, GWM Ora. So they are coming down. We talked about depreciation earlier. If you are in the second-hand used EV market, now's a good time to get one.
Bargain.
Absolutely. And I think we'll finish up here, guys. I was going to talk about EV5s, but I've already released a video on that, so check that one out. Lots of comments already, just using the facts from ev5safe.com. But we will finish up with this one. This is a garbage truck in Amsterdam. EV garbage truck. For me, this would make a lot of sense because these things are pretty noisy on our streets. Don't know about your neighborhood.
That's what
Roland.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, easily. You'd hear it through the house.
Yeah. Certainly wakes me up in the morning, but imagine having this picking up your crap. I mean, trash. In your neighborhood.
You wouldn't even know. Yeah, you wouldn't know they'd come by.
No. See you later. Nice one. Well, that's the future we can hope for. That's in Europe, but hopefully Australia not too far away. Richard says there are Sydney LGAs with electric garbage trucks at the moment. Not where we are, unfortunately. But that's cool to know. All right. Well, Jeanette says, but how will you know that you forgot to put your pins out? Oh, the haters will be out rolling on Reddit going, no, we can't have electric garbage trucks. I can't run out in my undies. Oh, dear. Charles says
they'll find an excuse for it. There's an excuse for everything.
Oh, always. There's always something. Always something. Reddit wouldn't be what it is without something like that. Yes, Jeanette beat you to it, Charles. That's true. Well, that's it, guys. That's it. And what do you? How many subs now, Roland? Check for us.
Let me do a refresh.
You got this.
1,019. So thank you everyone on the call. All my new subscribers. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. You guys are the best audience.
And thanks for having me, Tom.
No, thank you, Roland. That's great. Having your insights too. What have you got planned for the channel coming up?
What have I got planned for the channel? I've got some maintenance stuff for the Model X that I'll be taking everyone through. For the Model Y, I feel like I'm going to have to line up another track day based on what you've said recently. So maybe we'll end up booking something, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a bit of time over Christmas, so that might be a good time to book something. I'm sure one of the
calendars.
Oh, we'll hit up Hyundai to get another Ioniq 5N for us. Do a side by side.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. But hey, it was good to see you at the show, and yeah, thanks for your insights on the panel as well that we were sharing on Tesla ownership. And yeah, it's good to just catch up again, and everyone else we networked with as well. I think that's the best part of these expos is to one network with new people, but catch up with old friends like Roland, and just having viewers come up to us and saying hello and thank you, and it's just really really good, and we appreciate that for sure. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, on behalf of the viewers, Roland, thanks so much for your time again tonight.
No, thank you. And yeah, look, totally agree, Tom. Thanks for you guys know who you are, the ones that did stop by. I mean, I literally hit 1,000 subscribers tonight, so you guys even just stopping by to say thanks for your content and everything, like it means the world. It genuinely does.
It really does.
So I'm sure that it resonates even more for Tom.
No, it's great. Honestly, had a great time. So I think the Future Drive Auto guys want me back to MC the Melbourne show. So that's in June next year. So if you're in Melbourne, mark it in your diary. I'll be back in Melbourne for next year to MC again. And I think, Roland, you might be doing some panels as well at Fully Charged in March.
I don't know yet.
Don't know. Okay, all right. Try and get onto that. But I'll be doing a few panels as well at Fully Charged or Everything Electric in Sydney in March. Yep. So come along to that show too.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, once again, thank to our sponsors before we head off for the last time. Again, to Carloop. Hello to Riz, if you're still watching. Enjoy the rest of your trip in China. And also to Hankook, thank you for your sponsorship too. Much appreciated. Alrighty, well, from Roland and myself, I want to say thank you and good night. And until next time, happy charging. Congratulations, Roland, again, to reaching 1,000 subscribers. And all the best moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys. See you later.